Welcome to the Kenny Aronoff Sessions podcast. Check out some of my amazing episodes with Joe Satriani, Bill Burr, Steve Lukather, John Five, and Joe Bonamassa, while I'm on an 8-week tour across the USA with Joe Satriani and Steve Vai. And if you're into seeing Joe and Steve shred, go to Joe's website and see if we're performing in your city. Now, I'm 10 years old, and I grew up in a big country farmhouse in a small town in the hills of Western Mass. There was nothing ever to watch on TV. So me and my twin brother were always outside inventing things to do. One day, my mom comes out on the porch and yells, "Boys, you gotta come in here right now." And I went, uh-oh, we're in trouble. So we go running across the lawn. We get in the family room, and I'm ready to get yelled at, but my mom is pointing this black and white RCA TV set with the rabbit ear antennas, to get better reception, because there was no cable back then. There's 4 guys on the TV set in suits, but they're not like your dad's suits. These are like really cool suits. And they got long hair. And 2 of the guys have electric guitars. 1 guy has electric bass. And then there's a drummer up on a riser. And he's got the long hair and the cool suit. Anyway, they break into some rock and roll music. And I've heard it on the radio, but I'd never seen a rock and roll band before. I don't know who these guys are or where they're from, but man, I know I want to do that. And it was at that split second I realized, wow, I knew what my purpose in life was. I want to be part of that. I want to do that. So I said, Mom, who are these guys? She says, well, they're the Beatles. I want to play in the Beatles. Call them up. Get them on the phone. And I want a drum set. I want to play drums. Forget the piano lessons. I'm done with that. Well, my mom never called the Beatles up, that's for sure. And she didn't get me a drum set. We didn't have a lot of money. But they saw that, I was like banging on things and buying records and going crazy and loving rock and roll. They finally get me a snare drum and a cymbal. I started my first rock and roll band at age 10 called the Alley Cats. And we played Beatles music, of course. I mean, I'd shut my eyes and think I was in the Beatles, long hair, girls going crazy. For us, well, the first part never quite worked out. The long hair, no, but the girls, yeah. Anyway, here's the crazy thing. 50 years later, I've become Kenny Aronoff. I get a call to do a CBS special called The Night That Changed America, honoring the Beatles for that Ed Sullivan show that I saw when I was a little kid. And I get to play with the 2 remaining Beatles, Paul McCartney Ringo Starr. I mean, think about it. I was the only drummer in the world who witnessed the Beatles' iconic performance on the Ed Sullivan show, 1964, that 50 years later got to play with them. It's amazing. Not only did I get to play with Paul and Ringo, but I got to play with Stevie Wonder, Joe Walsh, Dave Grohl, Keith Urban, John Mayer, Jeff Lynne from ELO, John Legend, Alicia Keys, to name a few. When I got done performing, there was still 30 minutes left in the show. So I went into the audience to just watch the rest of the show, and oh my God, there are these elite seats. Tom Hanks and his wife, Ringo Starr and his wife, Paul McCartney, his girlfriend, George Harrison, John Lennon's widows, and these actors, Johnny Depp, Tom Cruise, and Sean Penn. And they're all acknowledging me, but Ringo's applauding, going, bravo, Kenny. Great job. I'd met him. I actually performed with him the night before at the Grammys, but never had a chance to tell him how much he meant to me. So I get down on one knee, because everyone's looking at me in this arena. And before I could say anything, he goes, well, it's okay, Kenny, I'm already married. I mean, it was hilarious. And I stood up and went, no, dude, you're the reason why I play the drums. You're the reason why I play in rock and roll bands. And you and the Beatles set me on a course at age 10 that I've been on ever since. And I just want to thank you. And I got up and walked away. I started thinking, you know what? In order to be really successful at anything, you have to love what you do. I mean, it's not up here. It's here. If you love what you do, you're going to be unstoppable. You're going to be undeniable. You're going to be completely authentic. And you're going to be great at what you do. And the ripple effect of your love and joy for what you do is going to affect everybody around you. I mean, people are going to want you in their band, or they're going to want to hire you. I mean, that is what that's all about. Anyway, check out my podcast, the Kenny Aronoff Sessions, on my YouTube channel. There are so many stories like this that I share with all my guests.